I believe that President Franklin Delano Roosevelt was one of the greatest figures in American history. He had an outstanding leadership and created major milestones in the history of America. The 32nd President of the United States, he was the only president to be reelected 3 times and then a 4th time as president. No wonder he was such a good president. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, also known as FDR, was a Democrat. He was born in 1882 and he died in 1941. During his childhood, he was the only child of James and Sarah Roosevelt. His family was very mobile and they used to travel to Europe often. Because of this, rather than attending a regular school, he was taught by private tutors. He then attended Harvard University and after that Columbia University. At Harvard University, he got to meet his cousin, who he fell in love with, and he always said that she found her attractive, not because of her prettiness, because she was pretty, because she really wasn't that pretty. She was known as a plain woman, but he found her attractive because of how smart she was. And his mom didn't really approve of it so much, but either way, he got married to her anyways, and they went on a honeymoon and all that. After World War I, there was a short economic growth spurt, but was then followed by a steep economic regression, leading the nation into the Great Depression. During this time, there was also a drought, which created a dust bowl. Millions lost their homes and jobs, and wages decreased. President Roosevelt proposed 2 deals, the New Deal and the Second New Deal. This consisted of creating jobs and a national infrastructure of roads, buildings, and other construction. FDR, however, had already started taking the U.S. out of the Great Depression way before. He helped rid the Great Depression with his fireside chats, giving what people most desperately needed, more than money, hope.
My friends, I want to talk for a few minutes with the people of the United States about banking. To talk with the comparatively few who understand the mechanics of banking, but more particularly with the overwhelming majority of you who use banks for the making of deposits and the drawing of checks. I want to tell you what has been done in the last few days and why it was done and what the next steps are going to be. I recognize that the many proclamations from state capitals and from Washington, the legislation, the Treasury regulations, and so forth, couched for the most part in banking and legal terms, ought to be explained for the benefit of the average citizen.
And with the rise of Hitler and the Holocaust, the war was starting to begin, and the United States, all they wanted to do was stay out of it. And just like all Americans and President Roosevelt, they weren't really focused on Japan till Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. And so this is when JFK declared a war on Japan. The president had an everlasting life and made the best of it. He helped this country regain itself, but now it was time for him to go. On April 12th of 1945, President Roosevelt had died of a stroke. Many people cried and felt very sad. After what the president had done for this country, he was loved by many people. He is now a national American hero and the most influential man in American history.